Ready again? Call to order the council meeting for July 6, 2021. This time we'll start with the invocation. Mr. Mayor, usual.
Please stand with me. Lord, thank you once again for a wonderful day. Thank you for the city that we live in, and giving us all that you have given us and provided for us. We ask that you continue to watch over our first responders as they protect our city and protect our citizens. We ask that you watch over our staff as they keep the city running, and the citizens of Sebring, which we are so glad that we do live here. We also ask that you watch over those in the path of the hurricane or storm, whatever it is right now, and watch over them, and if it passes, pass it quickly. We appreciate you, and we do all we do in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mayor Shute.
Here.
Carlisle. Detman.
Here.
Lawrence.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Ivy.
Here. This time I'll announce the procedure for business from the audience. If you have something that you wanted to say during that period in our agenda, please see the clerk and fill out a form, much like this, exactly like that. And we will get to you during the business from the audience. I'll start out here with the mayor's report.
I got a few things just to announce. We had, I think, a pretty good fireworks show again the other night. Really enjoyed it. Had a good turnout at the pier, and no rain compared to last year.
Right.
So it was
Amen.
good. So it was nice. Also, we had an event, Juneteenth event. Ada McGowan is here. Thank you for putting that on again, Ada. She did a wonderful job. So had a good turnout, had a good time. So those that you missed it, it'll be bigger and better next year, right? All right, good deal. There you go. So, upcoming events that we have: Big Dixie Youth Tournament this weekend, AAA and Ozone Tournament. Next weekend, the following weekend, there's a wrestling tournament that's put on by Visit Sebring, basically. And then we have the Moto Surf Games, which is a motorized surfboard and skateboards down at the City Pier Beach. So that should be pretty exciting. So we're looking forward to that. So y'all come out and see the events, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Any concerns from council members, comments, liaison reports?
Yes, well, as you guys know, we had a joint meeting with the CRA. I think it was June 17th, and we discussed the waterfront property. And during that meeting, it also came up with about the two historic houses that are down there, the Yellow House and the Cloverleaf House. And the leases on those are about to expire. As of August 5th, those leases will be up. So I wanted to suggest that we put out an RFP for the future of those, either on a temporary basis, which it may be, depending on whether or not the CRA comes back with a plan that we all like, or on a more permanent basis. But the proper way to do that, instead of just giving it to one particular group without finding out about the other groups that might want to use those houses or have plans for something there, I think we need to put out an RFP. So I would like to ask my fellow council members to go with me on this and say, hey, let's see what other options are out there. I've understood from some people that there may be even an option to move one of the houses. Someone may be willing to do that and put it onto their property at their expense or not. But I think we need to at least see what other groups are interested in it, instead of just favoring one group over the others.
Well, I'm pretty sure our lawyer indicated that we had to do that. Isn't that correct?
If you're going to let someone use it, lease it to someone, you have to
Right.
put it out for everybody. You don't have to lease it to anybody.
Right. Okay. So, an RFP is appropriate.
Sounds reasonable.
All right, and I think we should direct staff to go ahead and come up with an RFP for those properties and see what we can come up with. Give us some options and give everybody a fair chance to do something with it down there.
Have that?
But really, we don't have any choice. We have to do that, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think staff is been well instructed to do that. All right, any other concerns, comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the consent agenda, and I've had a request to pull a few items from the consent agenda. Item I, Lakeside Road, Highlands Road drainage fields, and then L through P, the demolition items that are on the consent agenda. And
Can you
let's-
pull D as well, please?
Up, D.
And
Okay.
I was writing, could you tell me what you pulled again? I'm sorry.
Okay, here we go. Pulling D as in Delta,
Uh-huh,
I as in India,
uh-huh,
L through P, LMNOP.
LMNOP.
Yeah, we can get right down the alphabet there.
Okay,
All right? So let's start with D Delta. Comments?
Yeah, I'm just curious, I remember this coming up before us at one point, a few years ago, and we chose not to do it, and I'm wondering what has changed.
well, can I ask a point of order? Mr. Swain, do we need to vote on the consent agenda items that they have not pulled and then go to the pulled items?
They commonly do, but you're not required to move in that fashion. They can discuss all the items that they'd like and then vote on all of them. They've got,
Okay, I was under
They've
the
got
assumption
discretion.
that they couldn't, okay, so, okay,
You want to get that out of the way? I'll
Yeah.
just go
Yeah,
make that motion.
I'll go ahead and do that then.
Okay, I'll make that motion. We approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of D Delta, I India, and L Lima through P Papa.
Have a second?
Second that.
All right, have a- all those in favor?
Kurt Jr.
Detman,
Yes,
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Ivy,
Yes.
thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, D Delta.
D Delta it is?
Yes, sir.
Mark, to be honest with you, I think Scott and I did talk about that before this came on the agenda.
Right.
We couldn't find anything that we could identify as being a problem. At the time, I know that Mr. Hoffman was opposed to it,
Right.
and I don't know if that was the driving force behind it or not. But we have capacity, we have proper line size. Really, there is no real reason that we can find at this
No
moment.
structural reason at all.
No, sir.
Wow.
Who pays for that, Bob?
They do,
They do?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments? Any
I'd
comments?
like to make a motion that we go ahead and accept item 8D Delta as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
Any public comment? I know you all know about fire hydrants, right? Okay. If I hearing none, we'll ask for a vote.
Carlisle,
Madam Clerk.
oh, sorry.
Carlisle's not here
Carlisle's
tonight.
not here, okay. Detman,
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, the next one is, was item I, India. Lakeside Road, Highlands Road drainage fields. There's-
Okay. Yeah, I just had a couple questions on that, and I guess, is this something that's continuing, or, I know we have a lot of drainage problems around the city, and so I'm just wondering why this one particular one we've decided to go in and do something with. I understand there's one pipe that's crushed in there from what you said, but just
This-
replacing that one pipe seems like pretty expensive at $43,000.
Well, it's not just a pipe, there's several structures involved.
Okay,
And eventually, this is going to tie into any potential work or improvements that we may do on Lakeview Drive related to the road repairs.
yeah,
So either way, this will, right now what's happening is we're getting a lot of water from across the 27, and it's being dumped in a rather large pipe into a ditch, and it's going right onto these customers in their yards and through. And that's caused quite a number of problems, as you can imagine, with the mosquitoes. We're getting complaints constantly, but more importantly, the pipe that's crushed and the gentleman there has already filled it several times, and what it's doing now is causing a backup further down. So the water's not flowing through that pipe accurately. So it's just kind of backing up, on down the line and is affecting several houses, so it's a constant, we're constantly out there.
Yeah.
So this is an engineered fix, that was suggested to us, and
I guess I'm just kinda wondering, because we do have plans to redo that entire road over there and all the drainage. And so you say this will tie into that in a reasonable manner?
Yeah, definitely a reasonable manner. I mean, it's gonna depend on whether council accepts, the plans and the cost for Lakeview Drive, but, you know, my answer is we gotta start somewhere. And this is as good a place to start as any, especially with the amount of water that we're getting from across 27 and, from 27.
Yeah, because I know there's other problems along there too, and I'm just kind of wondering why
Yeah.
this one's getting addressed and the others aren't.
Well, this one is off Lakeview, so it falls more into, you know, kind of outside that project.
Uh-huh.
So this will help get the water that these people are having to deal with on down to Lakeview and then out into Lake Jackson.
All right. All right, thank you.
Any further discussion on this? Anyone from
I'm
the
good.
audience? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I actually discussed this item this morning with Ken, and I'm satisfied with it, so with that, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Sure.
Okay, I'd like to make a
Please.
motion that we approve agenda item 8I as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion, a second. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Detman,
Yes.
Lorenz.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes. Okay, now we're moving on down the consent agenda to item L, demolition of structure at 4703 4th Street with Toller.
Yeah.
Mr. Toller.
And if
And
we could, I would like
you
to
want to
just
bound them together?
talk about all of these together, because they're pretty much the same thing.
Okay, anyone
just
have any
different
I'm fine with that.
Okay, we'll do LMNOP. Sharpen my. Star.
Good evening. Well, I guess my question is, so we got a lot of properties we're gonna tear down houses on, and at a pretty big cost to the city. I'm not questioning the fact whether they need it or not. My first question though is, are we gonna be able to recover any of this money? I mean, we're gonna put liens on the property and then end up owning the property, and then are we going to sell it to people that are interested? Are we gonna give it to people that wanna build there, or is there any future intent with it?
Well, the city will, Mr. Swain will file a special assessment lien on each demolition, depending on whether or not the city chooses to foreclose on the property. If they did that, there's no mortgages on either properties. Mr. Swain could probably give you more info on that about it, but we could put it out for, you know, Habitat for Humanity or whoever come in there and maybe build a house on it.
So,
As
in
far as
other
get
words.
our money back, possible, I don't know. Anything's possible, I guess.
Okay. Is there a lot more of these houses out there that are gonna?
Well, 4 of these caught fire,
Uh-huh.
so that's the reason they're getting pulled
Hazard.
down. The other one is just really bad shape, holes in the roof, and the owner just can't do anything with it or won't.
Okay. It just seems that, you know, I don't know, the owner should be responsible in some way, but I guess they're just not.
Yes, sir, they should be.
Yeah.
We give them opportunities to make it right, but they just fail to do that.
And are any of the are all the owners separate people, or is
Yes.
any of them own multiples?
There's 2 of the houses, the one belongs to, the son, the other one belongs to the father. So
Uh-huh.
they're 2 different names, yes.
Okay. All right.
This is an ongoing process, and
Yes.
it has been happening for years and years and years,
Yep.
and if we
Yeah.
don't destroy those houses, they're dangerous.
Yep,
And
Yep.
it's a life and safety issue number one.
absolutely.
So we have no choice, really.
Yeah.
And as far as foreclosing on them, we should, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I shudder to think how many lots we have right now already throughout town
Lots.
that are buildable.
The
And
city.
the CRA has control of some of those, if I'm not mistaken, now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so there's opportunities there. And if we were able to entice someone to build on them, that's property tax for us, and money, and
Right.
water, and sewer, and people living there, and everything we're looking for.
Yep.
So I'm grateful that we're doing this.
No, I think it's a good move rather than have them deteriorate further and neighborhood blight and all that good stuff. I just wish there was some way we could try to get some of this money back. And maybe if we do foreclose on them, advertise the properties out there, or get a realtor to try to list them and sell some. Even if we just get 50 cents to the dollar, at least we're getting something back.
And put them on the tax roll, back on the tax roll. Get something
Well,
back on
I have a comment.
I do too.
All right, go
It
ahead.
would also appear that the cost to demolish isn't too awfully far off from the value of the property itself. So if nothing else, it'll be pretty close to a wash, maybe come out a little bit in our favor.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, all of them have fines on them right now,
Yeah.
and they're insane. You
You're
know,
never gonna
you
catch
couldn't-
those. Yeah.
The value of these properties doesn't warrant the fine that's on them for
Right.
the homeowner to pay it,
Well,
so.
Yeah.
When I was liaisoning with the code enforcement board, this is a real conundrum for the city, because not only these that we forfeit will never get the same money that we spend out of these, more than likely, but we're also mowing lawns time immemorial and paying for that. And right now, I don't know what the answer to that is legally, and there may not be one devised yet, but we hopefully find a strategy where we can.
Well, it wasn't too long ago that the CRA put when I say too long
Yeah.
ago, probably 4 or 5 years, that they tried to market a number of lots that they had in the downtown that were demoed. And at that time, there was no interest at all, zero. Now, property values are up right now, and people are building, and so this might be an appropriate time to pursue something like that for these properties.
All right. Chief?
Carl Oakland, for the record, Code Enforcement. I only add comment because obviously our Code Enforcement divisions hold hands as we move through a number of these enforcement processes. 2 of the properties we're discussing here with demolitions have liens that cross-attach because the father, who's an owner, and the son, who's an owner, own other properties mutually. So all of the liens they have on other properties cross-attach to these properties. I would guess that there are close to $1 million in liens against these 2 homes alone if you
Yeah.
cross-attach all the properties. We have tried to get rid of some of these homes on inventory through Habitat. Habitat is not interested at this point. A number of these lots are 8-acre lots out in Highlands Homes. They are deemed almost not buildable in this day and age. So we are facing a real problem in how to move forward and how to rehab that area. I think we are gonna have to systematically look at a procedure for rental inspection so that the properties don't fall into the dilapidated state that they're in right now. Still occupied, still having people rent them, in a poor state of repair, and many of them accruing code liens and probably building zoning liens for just being in terrible shape. Just wanted to paint a better picture of what we're dealing with specifically with some of these property owners and some of their properties.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's code for we need a workshop,
There you go.
because it's a bad problem.
Yeah.
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 You need a
Yeah, I would
strategy.
like to hear some possible solutions to
There's
it.
a lot more homes in that are very close to that shape out in that
Yeah.
particular neighborhood too. So as time goes on, it's just gonna exacerbate the problem.
All right.
All right, any discussion from the audience, comments from the audience? Seeing none?
Any interest out there on people with building a house on any of these properties?
Yes, my name's Billy Shannon. That was very interesting what you said, and also the other gentleman. What I think is that you have to look at the problem as a whole, and you have to look at the area. Okay, we know Highlands Home. I remember walking out there to Mark Skipper Field playing with Buddy Yarber, and it was totally different. I remember Washington Heights, over there, it was totally different. Everything was taken care of. And the reason why you're gonna continue to run into these problems is because of no one wanna build there because of the crime, because of what's going on there. Nobody wanna build a home in Washington Heights, right around Lemon or Broad. So you're gonna continue to run into this problem. I think that when you run into a situation and you guys are demoing the property, and I know it costs that's hard money. But you gotta take a look at special circumstances. And the special circumstances, what you look at is that, okay, if it costs us $10,000 to do that, who are gonna come and pay $10,000 versus a lot of property that's valued $2,500? I wouldn't wanna move my family nowhere in that area. Matter of fact, we struggle. So, I'm gonna be speaking on something, I'm on the agenda. I think what gotta happen is that, sometimes you come to a special circumstance in life when you are official, and the official have to do things in an order, and you have to do it across the board. But sometimes it's special circumstance that you have to take a look at and think about the position, the area, and how can you stop the cost? What can we do? Okay, you might find some interesting people that might be interested in the land or whatever, that just want to get the land and do something else with the land besides building a home or something. So that might be a special circumstance that I kind of feel like the councilman should take a look at. Because if you guys are demoing, that's hard costs, and then you got liens, it's gonna continue. You guys are never gonna recover your money. So what do? You sit on the money? I'm talking, it's nothing that you can do. I feel as though, I think that when you get hard calls like demoing, and you get liens and it goes to about 6, 7, 8 years, you gotta find a way that you can like get rid of the hard costs. If you find an interesting company or business or non-profit organization who wanna start some on the business, take a look at the hard costs, take a look at waiving some of it, take a look at waiving all of it. You know what I mean? If he's or she or the business or any entity is planning on coming in, doing something constructive to that area. So that's all I have on that.
Thank you.
Billy, I just want to address that's a great comment.
Yes.
And what's happened in the past, and this was, 4 or 5 years ago, the city offered several lots, 5 or 6 lots that we own within the city, to anybody that wanted to build on it.
For
and
free.
For free.
Right.
So that's the same kind of concept that we've had in the past,
Yes.
but that's an
Yeah.
excellent, it's a different viewpoint. So I
Yes.
think that's what, I think if somebody came up and said, I wanted to put a house on each one of those lots, we'd say, here's a lot. you
Right.
know?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Like, once again, it's nobody wanna build there.
Right.
Nobody don't wanna raise
It's hard,
kids.
and I think this is part of how do you clean up an area, like the Highlands Homes, and you have a landlord in there that's got, I don't know how many rentals he's got out there. The one with the $1 million in liens.
Right.
He doesn't care.
Right.
So what do you do when a guy doesn't care? You can't do anything with the 30 houses that he owns until one starts on fire and he's not gonna do anything with it, so now you gotta clean it up. So that's really kind of a key to some of that area, is that you have some landlords that really don't care about
Right.
it, so.
And
that's-
they're smart enough to know that it's nothing that you guys can really do.
Exactly.
They're smart enough to know
Exactly.
that.
They just
That's a
collect
fact.
rent
Right.
and don't do anything with some of those properties that
just
guy owns
and
are
they just put the
terrible.
house on you guys. But like I said, one thing that we can do, and I'll be speaking on it, is that I spoke to you earlier. Over in Orlando, I have a cousin that I guess you guys heard about, the Duke Boys years ago, and what they went into areas like that, Washington Heights, the other area, Highlands Home. And what they did, they got with the business owners, they got with the property owners, and they sort of made a legit things to where it wasn't no hanging out, a lottering, this, that, and they enforced rules and law enforcement. And when you start enforcing law and rules and regulations on the homeowners and the people who's hanging out or people who stay there, where it's unlivable, then I think you'll start getting some answers. You'll start coming up with some type of solution that we all can work together with. Because I live here in Sebring, and it's not just one area. Thank God, I look at Sebring, and it's the best kept secret in the world. My 30 years at the post office, I've seen people come from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, they pass by and they see, and they find out how much the land is, and they buying it, and they come here. This is the best kept secret in the world. But now we running up against, what can we do? What can we do here with areas like that? And we need to work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you pull the microphone down so we can hear you, dear?
Oh. Sorry. So a little bit on that. I have a lot of ideas, and the other month I put out to the community, just in question, this whole thought, if you could do something to help the community, what would it be? And oh my God, the responses that came in, like, tore my heart and made me cry, because it's like something for the youth, something for them to do. It was all about the youth and kids, and we know that we have a drug problem here. I mean, at least I'm sure you guys are aware of that. And when you have a fire, I personally have had 2, and my son was 2 months old when our house burned. It changes you. And just recently when my friend, the McMahons, lost their home, a lot of that revision came back. So when something is destructed or torn down, it's an opportunity to rebuild something with purpose and something with passion and something that would serve humanity, in my opinion. But offering maybe that property for a community garden where people come together and start growing things together and start learning how to garden and start learning how to take care of nature and feed your families, and decreases the population of people trying to steal. And, veterans, we have a lot of homeless here, there's a lot of brilliantly minded carpenters, building little tiny homes for those homeless people and teaching the youth, these skills, because they have taken that away in the school system. They have taken a lot of just life skills away and teaching strict agendas, and so it leaves our youth empty-handed and grasping and lacking. So I just maybe put out a challenge to think of community efforts and letting the people come together, having a voice, and hey, what do you want? They took our skating rink away. They did a lot of away things. And so what are our youth left with? Not a whole lot. And so it's just a suggestion I have to maybe build as a community, come together. That's all for that. Kurt?
Thank you. All right, seeing no further comments, any motion on these, on item LMNOP on the agenda?
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we accept the items L through P as presented for demolition.
Second.
All right, a motion, a second, Madam Clerk?
Detman,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes. All right, passes. Any old business? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Item 10A, diversified CPC sublease. I think there's been a request to pull this for tonight and reschedule for July 20th meeting. So I think we'll do that. I mean, we'll have to get a motion for that, right?
No, sir.
No, okay.
You can
So
say it full.
we'll pull it till the next council meeting on the 20th. Item B, Mr. Shannon coming back up. Property located at 758 Lemon Avenue.
759. That's across the street. Across the street
Can I proceed? I try to do it like
Thank you.
the federal government does it with exhibit.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if that's good or bad.
It might be a little easier for you guys.
You worked too long for the post office.
Okay, here we go.
I watched you on Facebook.
Yeah,
You did a nice presentation on Facebook, yes, sir. Nice work.
Do you have one?
No, I don't, yes.
I can share.
Yep, me too.
Well done.
Yes. was.
I'll share with you, this is
Thank you.
exhibit one.
My name is Billy Shannon, and this is my wife, beautiful Linda Faye Shannon. And I want to thank you guys for allowing me a chance to come in. And basically, this is information, and sometimes information that you give, it don't become relevant, but the information I give today, I hope it become relevant to all the councilmen and everyone in here. I hope it, sometimes when you do formal information, what it tends to do, it take away. Formal is beautiful, but when you do formal information, sometimes it take away the heart of it. So I want to stay formal, but at the same time, I want you guys to feel what I'm saying. And if it seems like I'm railing, it's not railing, it's just the heart from me being growing up over on Washington Heights and seeing a totally different from that time to now. So the first thing I want to do, I just want to start off about with reading some stuff right quick. I'm not going to take that long. I think we got enough that we can pass out and they can share. Let me get one right here. Can you pass those out for me? Okay.
We do have your video as well to share.
Yes, I'm gonna do the videos in a second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we don't have enough. I hope somebody can share. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. I thought I had enough.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
And I want to apologize for not having enough once again. Once again, my name is Billy Shannon. I'm the president of the HELP organization and company. And I just want to say that HELP organization been around for a long time, but we was just a program. And we wasn't a program that where we wanted to be noticed in the newspaper for what we did. Actually, it was a program that I started about 10 years ago. And I did it with the postal workers, and I did it with people who wanted to give basically donations, but with the ideal and understanding that there wasn't any filing on this, because it was a program that we started immediately, and we wanted this program to work by just giving and helping and everybody coming in. And that HELP program, what it did was, at different times, we different holidays, we help fund different things. One of the things that we help fund, and along with Ada McGowan, she does a wonderful job, and I know you guys remember Mr. Robert Sappho, and before Ada came in, I sort of was with Mr. Robert Sappho, and what we did with the Publix manager, I forgot his name, we sort of teamed up with him and Greg Harris. He was, I guess he was a councilman, and he started at YMCA for a while. So we teamed up, and we thought that we could help during school time with different things that they provided with us, and we provided to different communities, to book sites, all the materials that they needed. So that was part of the HELP program that we did. Also, what we did is with the HELP program, when you have Bible, when they had the Bible schools at all the churches and everything, what I did with the HELP program, I went around to different businesses. I went around to, it was Red Lobster, all the other big businesses, Walmart's, McDonald's, and what we did during the time, about 2 to 3 weeks of having this summer Bible school, what we did, I went to each business, and I had each business for each day feed at noon to the kids, and they brought it out free of charge. So I thought that was great. During Christmas, also what we did was I went into different churches in the community. A lot of churches in the community that was provided with stuff was in Washington Heights area, predominant black area, but I seen fit, I went out into the Latino community because they needed as well. So just to give you a little bit. But the read on this paper what the HELP organization is about, it says the HELP organization is a nonprofit organization, and it stands for Help Every Living Person. The purpose and reason for the HELP organization is to become a team player in our community as well as others through community outreach. Actually, what that means is that when we say community, we're not talking about just Washington Heights. I'm concerned about the community as a whole, everywhere. So that's what the HELP organization is for. Also, the HELP organization is the reason why I think the higher power of God gave me a vision for that, because I have been in a situation on my own where me and my wife, we worked, and we ran into a situation to where we were low on funds for certain things, right? So you don't have to be on drugs. You don't have to be an alcoholic. You don't have to be a person that's unemployed that's going to run into a help situation at time. That's what we are there for. We are there for people that's working, both parents, and maybe sometimes during the year they run into a situation. We want to be able to assist them regardless of what their needs. So that's part of the HELP organization. And it's a vehicle to be able to assist people, families, communities, church organizations, youth outreach, collaborate with the law enforcement, also work towards one common goal in time of need. That's another thing. Also, working in the law enforcement, working with the law enforcement is important. And I think it's important because of what the last gentleman, he came and spoke on. We spoke on demos, okay? If we get the law enforcement in these communities, and with the organizations and with the businesses and with the community concerned citizens, what we can do, we can show the dark side, I say the bad side, the drug dealers, the gunplay. We can show all these people that, you know, we're with our law enforcement. Enough is enough. We're taking Sebring back over. We're coming up here. This was a land of milk and honey. And what we're going to do, when we see, we're going to tell. We're going to be part of the system. We're going to have our law enforcement to come up here and put on community activities. We're going to have our law enforcement to come in and be able to go and knock on the door and, you know, and speak to a young woman, a young man, and give them some information that they need. So that's what we need in our community. We need that. Also, the reason why I'm up here is because the property at 758 Lemons Avenue, lots 9 and 10, is a perfect location for the HELP organization to focus on. And that's the property I want to focus on. The reason why I want that property, and I'm focusing on the property HELP organization, is because having this property will allow us to focus on beautification of the land, which you said, also the environment with visual beauty to this location area. Now, it's a different things. If you come and watch it in our area, you'll see that when you come in, you might see one business that's within the law standards. The rest of the business is dark side. And I don't have to call any name about the business. If you pass through there, you guys know, okay? And what we want to do now, we want to add a visual. We want the young people that's over on the other side to be able to see that now this community, we're coming together with law enforcement, we're coming together with concerned citizens, we're coming together with the churches, we're coming together with other entities, and we're coming in right here in this spot, and we want to be able to have different things on this land. So it's time for you guys to move out. We're going to be part of being active with the police when we see things that's going wrong and see people doing wrong. So that's one of the things that we want to bring to this land besides developing. The property, once again, will be developed for the use of community events. It will also enlighten people, especially the youth, to envision future possibilities of their own dreams. Right now, they don't have any dreams because they don't see anything. When I came up on Washington Heights area, and I can start from the Parkway. There was a trike right there. And from that trike on, it was businesses. I wanted to put that in there. It was businesses. It was people who looked like me. When I came out the door, they had a business. It was restaurants. They had their bars. We had a theater. We had a filling station. Matter of fact, we had 2 or 3 restaurants. I can name the name. We had Mr. Ben's grocery store. We had Miss Tusi grocery store. We had Miss Georgia May. It was so many businesses, black-owned businesses up there. And then when you come out the door as a young man, you can see a dream. You can say, well, this is a hard-working black business person, a hard-working business person, and you can focus and sort of have a dream on want to be a businessman, sort of have a dream on, well, I can do something like that. I got to work hard. But now when you come out the door, you see darkness. I don't want to take too much time on that. So what this property do also is envision future possibilities of their dream. It would also allow law enforcement to engage in activities and show interest as being part of the community. It would also be an example for our business organizations to be more involved with growth and development for our community. Lemon Avenue and Martin Luther King has been a high-risk areas in Washington Heights community for crime, activities, gangs, drugs, and alcohol. The HELP organization would like to make a difference of a change by promoting events for the family, youth, concerned citizens in our community to feel safe when they come out and to participate in the events. And part of that is that I feel hurt inside when I see people who paved the ground for myself and my brother, Dr. Shannon, Reverend Shannon, and the rest of the people that grew up there. They work hard. They would labor. They paved the way. And now we got the 4th and 5th generations that's coming up there, and you guys know what we see. You guys know what we're going through. It's people talk to me all the time. Elderly people who work hard. They're scared to come out their house, to pass through, because they're scared of the gangs. They're scared of shootings. They don't know when they're going to get shot or anything. They spent time working, building themselves, trying to build a community, and now they're scared to come out their house, just even walk in their communities, to pass through. This got to stop. Okay, on behalf of the HELP organization, we want to thank you for allowing us this opportunity to share our vision. The vision that we share is also a dream for our concerned citizens, especially the elderly and youth. We pray and hope that the opportunity for this property to become a place of new opportunities and new beginnings. Okay, right now, what I want to do, I have a video. I don't want to take too much time. I have a video, and after the video, if you guys have any questions, and then hopefully I can answer your questions. But what I started already, we did a video sort of to show you guys exactly what our plans on doing. And if you look on the last page, as you see, this is the property right here. And this is the property. And if you look at the property, on this property, I have already started, and I don't even know if this property is going to be mine or not. Hopefully tomorrow when I go to the options, it will be mine. I started on this property already. Regardless if it be mine or not, I got over $1,800 in this property. Regardless, if it's not mine, I still want to beautify it. If it's not mine, I still want to be a part. I'm getting emotional.
Come on, brother, you're doing good.
Excuse me. It's been too much going on in that area for the last 15, 20 years. There has been killings, murders. Nobody don't want to talk. The churches has been divided sometimes for just foolish reasons. So what I want to bring back there, I want to bring back I want to use this land so that we can throw events, so we can allow the churches to come together, so that we can work together, so we can invite law enforcement, in which we have did certain activities with them already, the sheriff department and the city department. But I want the south side of Lemon Street, on the other side, I don't have to call names, to see that we're here. We want to take back over our community. We want to beautify our community. We want to have a community event park so that we can have people from all areas to come up, and we put on different activities. We want to show our hard-working councilmen that we can work with you guys, that we can do it. We can do it. Along with your help, we can do it. And, 30 years of being at the post office didn't allow me enough time. But now, I can go and sit at my home. Over $250,000 of home with a pool and everything. I enjoyed it for a month and a half, where I woke up in the morning, had coffee, sit by my pool, walked and everything. But when we started to abide, God gave me a vision. He said, this is the land of milk and honey. He gave me a vision. He gave me the vision, the same vision he gave Nehemiah, because Nehemiah loved his people. We got to come back. We got to build our wall. We got to fight. We got to make you guys think. We got to let you guys know that y'all hard work and y'all decisive thinking and ability for us to get something started over there, it won't go in waste. So I stand up here today to speak for the HELP organization. I want you guys to excuse me. And I hope you guys take this in consideration. Right now, I think it's some hard costs. The hard cost demolition is about $10,000, and with the morning cutting, I think it's about $3,000. And tomorrow, if God's will, I'm going over there to that bid. I told my wife, regardless of what it is, I'm gonna bid, I'm gonna get that land. And I hope you guys take in consideration, if you don't waive all of it, if you waive some of it, if you guys allow me a chance, and the community a chance to come together with you guys, and with the forces, the law enforcement, we will make a difference. And right now, I want you guys to take a look at the video. I appreciate it. This land at 758 Lemon, lots 9 and 10, can enhance the beautification of the area. It can give the business owners a sense of how we can bring people together and unify, so that we can be able to do something on one accord. My name is Billy Shannon, and I'm the president of HELP organization, and meaning help every living person.
What we see in having this land is that it'll be an extension to our community. It will offer us spiritual enrichment and growth for our youth. It will utilize community activities, and it would just really bring some light into the land. A lot of times you see darkness, but we want to bring light to the land. And we want everybody, every person in the community and afar off, to be able to enjoy this piece of property, to be able to utilize it, to have fun, to have gatherings, to come together, to collaborate, and have it to be organized in such a way that it'll benefit the whole community.
Hi, my name is Ada McGowan. I am the CEO and President of Highlands County Citizens with Voices. I'm standing here along with Elder Robert Shannon Oles, who is the pastor of Wings of Faith in Sebring. And I just want to talk about the property that we're standing on here on 758 Lemon Street, the lots 9 and 10. It's Block F. It's the perfect location for the HELP organization. Perfect location means that anything positive that can happen right here. It can be a place for performance arts for the kids, a dance studio, a dance location. It could be for the cops if they would need to come out and do anything, have any type of
Shannon, and all the pastors in this community and every organization, we want to thank you for allowing us this time to share what God has placed in our hearts.
Hi, I'm Reverend Marilyn Rodriguez from Bountiful Blessings Church of God, and I'm here today with Dr. Robert Shannon from Wings of Faith Christian Worship Center, and we are here as a part of the HELP organization, and the HELP organization is a nonprofit organization. It stands for to help every living person. The purpose and the reason for the HELP organization is to become a team player in our community, as well as others through community outreach. The property at 758 Lemon Street, lots 9 and 10, Block F, is the perfect location for the HELP organization to focus on. This is the property that we're standing on. Having this property will allow us to focus on beautification of the land and the environment and visual beauty to this location. It will also be a great benefit to the surrounding churches for outreach ministry, for evangelism, to have different activities for our community and for our youth in this community, to bring them out of a state of not having anything to do into a positive environment. So this property is definitely the ideal place for such an organization in this community. It will also reach out to other entities and agencies in Highlands County to be a support and a resource for the people in Washington Heights.
Again, in behalf of Elder Billy Shannon and the HELP organization, when you change the presence, you can create a presence that would impact and influence our entire community. So again, we want to thank you and appreciate your time for listening to us.
Okay, as you see, this is a layout of the vision that I have in the property. Good morning. I'm Billy Shannon, the president of HELP Organization. And this morning, I'm here to lay out the plans to the city officials about how I'm going to beautify this land at 758 Lemon Street. I'm in the center of the property at 758 Lemon Avenue. As you see, we have 4 zones: orange zone, blue zone, and 2 pink zones, and a yellow zone. And each zone represents what's going to be in this area. As you see, I'm standing in the center of the orange flags. And the orange flags represents the stage area, in which the stage will be utilized for different type of engagement. I'm in the blue zone, which represent a dance floor for a variety of events. And now I'm in the pink zone, which represent the seating area for events. I'm in the yellow zone that represents a patio for folks who cannot sit in the grass area or do not want to sit in the grass area. Once again, I'm Billy Shannon, president of the HELP organization, and I hope this proposal will receive favorable decision from our city officials. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day. Okay. The other part that I want to add, if you look at, if you guys can take a look at this, coming from where it says the space in between the dollar line, that is also land right there. And the reason why I left that open is because of you have a lot of people that want birthday parties for their kids and everything. We find out it's tremendous amount of cost if you plan on going and trying to get a building. You know, you're looking at $400 or $500. This would be the perfect place for them to come out and utilize. Also, they can put bounce houses, water slides in that location. Okay, also in the back where we have the other dotted lines is, what that is, that represents a patio. Once again, the patio is adjacent, it's adjacent to the building that I own now. The building that I own now, I haven't said anything about it, didn't want to put it in a presentation, but I had concerned citizens that was older, and they like shooting pool and different things, but they don't want to go to this other place. I guess he called it the spot or whatever, because of what goes on, the drug activities, this and whatever. So what me and my wife thought, we took the building, and we own the building, and the building used to be an old pool room, back in the 1950s. So what we did, we went in, I put some money into the building, and I'm changing it to a pool room. Okay, I got the pool, it's a pool hall, and it's up, and I still got a few things to, to do to it. But now I've been getting a lot of response because the pool room says rules and regulations. It's a free zone smoking. That means cigarettes, marijuana, no activities, no loitering, no standing, no gunplay. When you come here, you gotta come here, and we got recreation in which you can be involved with. Also, what this pool room has did the last month, they have showed the younger kids on the other side, they've been coming over, and they've been asking me, can they go in? Because they heard the word. They say, Mr. Shannon, y'all know how he is. Strictly, no smoking, no drugs, no fighting, no guns, and he don't want you guys over here. So lately, I've been getting a lot of people, younger kids from that area, because they see the decency. And they've been coming over, Mr. Shannon, can we go and shoot? At first, I was telling them no. But then my brother, Reverend Shannon, he talked to me. He said, look, he said, you got to understand that it's a ministry in this. And he said, by turning them away, how can you reach them? By turning them away, how can you tell that kid to think about killing somebody? How can you tell this kid about thinking about suicidal? How can you speak into them? He said, what you have to do is that they have to adhere to the rules and regulations. And if they adhere to the rules and regulations, now they can see a positive out of other people who come here that's decent, that respect each other, that's coming here and enjoying a game of pool. And then they're leaving. So it's been getting a lot of great reviews, and I just want to add that. So that's part of my presentation. And my presentation, once again, I hope that you guys can take a look at the hard costs. I talked about it early, and then on the soft cards for us, the liens and the demolitions, and take a look at it and come to a conclusion. And I hope it be in my favor, whether it can be a waive on it, some of it, most of it, all of it, so I can go ahead and start on this project that I have. And I want to thank you guys once again. I want to thank you, I want to thank you, I want to thank you, I want to thank you. And I want to thank you guys for the great work that you have done. You guys are wonderful. If every county can have people who's concerned about everybody, like our city councilman and our county commissions and our city officials and our police department, if every county can have somebody like you, they will be wonderful. But I want to thank you guys once again. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Shannon. Do we have any information on this property?
In what sense?
Well, are we holding liens on it, or?
Yes, sir. There are liens both for code enforcement, I believe lawn mowing, but the principal is a demolition, significant demolition lien.
Oh, so there was a house and we ripped it down.
There's a structure of some sort, yes, sir.
I was trying to figure out what the demolition costs, because it's an empty lot, so.
The
yeah.
city has a lien reduction procedure, an estoppel procedure. Well, there's really two. There's a lien reduction that if it's fully brought into compliance, they can come in and request, or estoppel, they can come in and say, what would you drop the price to if I go ahead and make this purchase? But the historical method by which that dollar amount is calculated is the hard cost plus some amount. So if council can waive that, but if you waive hard costs for one, you have a hard time not waiving hard costs the next time somebody comes and asks you for that. Council could, do that RFP type thing that Mayor Shoup mentioned, and offer it to somebody that's willing to build on it and build on it within a relatively quick time frame.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, I really like the idea. I think they've thought it through, and it would be a benefit.
Right.
I just don't want to create a bigger problem by fully waiving the city's out-of-pocket costs on this property. I'd like to see if we can't think of a better way to accomplish the goal.
Is there, I mean, what sales status is this in? I mean, we're,
I believe it is up for
So for
tax deed sale.
tax deed, okay.
In the morning, yes, I think I
Okay.
have.
So somebody could go walk in there and get it.
Right. I know one
Subject
person
to
that would like to
liens.
do that.
Well, besides him, it could be somebody else, which is.
There could be. But
So the Code Enforcement Division for the Police Department has $3,276.25 in liens. That includes both fines, hard costs, and liens that have been recorded against the property. It does not include the demolition. Generally, what happens is we will calculate a lien reduction amount that's presented to the Code Board. Code Board votes and approves for that reduction. There's then a 2-week appeal process that you as council have to appeal, or any aggrieved party has to appeal that process. That could be presented to the next Code Board, which would be July 27th, if we had applications on file. It's not eligible for estoppel as it sits, because the property is in total code compliance, so it would be lien reduction as outlined in the ordinance. That's where we sit right now.
But tomorrow, for him, for Reverend Shannon to get that, he's just dealing with the tax issue, and then he comes to plead with the city for the lien
he could buy it
reduction.
with the liens as they currently sit on it. He doesn't want the city to then shortly after take action to take it from
Foreclose
him.
it, right.
And I think this council can give him some measure of comfort that you will not look to foreclose those liens here in the short run, and that you want to try and find something that works.
It's simply a title issue at this point. There are liens filed against the title, that's it. He can purchase the property through tax deed sale, provided he's not outbid, hopefully.
What is the tax owed on it?
I admittedly, I do
Second, I'll
not know
tell
what
you.
the tax
Okay.
dues are.
Actually, the hard costs and the tax liens for a mooring is run about $13,000 to $14,000. $10,900 some dollars for demolitions, and about almost $3,000 for the cutting and the cleaning.
But the
You know
tax,
what the
the tax
I mean,
amount
not, the taxes is,
in arrears.
it was 35, it's around 3,500.
So that's pretty much what you're gonna have to bid to get
Yes.
the property.
Yes. And the property itself, I think, I don't have I should have had all my information. It's only worth for like, I think it's like 4,500. And that's what I'm looking at. The only other thing is that I got some other information today. I think I did a little homework. With me going in, and the only thing I'm scared of is that, I want the property, and my wife said you want to get it, because I really think it's, God just gave me this vision for this. And my question to City Attorney Swain, I was scared that if I get this property, and then now they have a thing where it crosses, and the cross for the property, the liens and everything on it, it will show on anything that I have my name on, you see, and that could be a problem, right? That's my question.
Walk me after.
Okay.
Are you buying this personal or through the help organization?
Through the help organization.
Yeah, so
Okay.
then
Yes.
it couldn't go personal.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's done through the help, done
Yeah.
through your corporation, it can't go personal.
Plus, that's a nonprofit.
Right.
Yes.
So you don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
At least that's my perception.
You'll want to put it in, you'll want to own it individually. So if you have a division of the help organization, if there are other assets on the property that's owned by help organization, that LLC will then attach all those liens.
Anything that's owned by the help organization.
Does help own any other real property?
No.
So the
No.
other building
Yeah.
you bought personally, or did you buy?
Yes, that's personal.
Okay, it's personal.
That's
Right.
my wife and I.
Okay.
That's our building. And the help organization, what we want to do, we coming in and we want to take that property, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, under the help organization. That was one of my other questions to you. I went over, and she gave me some information. Can I
Sure.
coach? Okay. She gave me some information, and she was saying that tomorrow I got to have the grantee and the name, and I was
Mhm.
telling her that it's gonna be under the help organization.
Right.
And she told me to ask you, is that okay? Will that be a way to go, without, the demolitions and the other liens that would come and follow my name with any other property I might have? That's my main concern.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. my
And
main
rightfully
concern.
so.
Yes.
This is a nonprofit organization, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is a nonprofit organization. Actually, we're gonna be under 501. What we did, we had to go ahead and do some amending on some information. That's already up. And, they should be sending us some stuff back because when you deal with 501, they want certain languages and stuff, so we had to put, different language on, and amend some certain things to our first,
So it's not a 501 right
Yes,
now?
it's-
It is?
No, but it's in the making to be 501. It's
Mhm.
coming under 501.
I wonder if that'll have an impact on whatever title he puts the property in.
It is currently a Florida not-for-profit corporation, Help Organization, Inc.
Yes.
Okay.
You may not yet have the tax exempt status that they're going for, but it is still a legal entity that can take title to that
Okay,
property.
all right, that's
Oh,
good.
yes.
So I think, I feel like all of us wanna help in any way we can. And if we can, waive fees and waive fines, that we should do that. I can't think of any other better use of this land than what he's proposing right now. Do you guys agree with that?
Pass that around. That's the
Entirely.
information, and that's all the other information.
I don't know how to go about doing this,
And
you
that's-
know, for
you can
him
give that-
and,
pass that
and,
around to
and we need some guidance on that, I think.
Yeah.
So that, you know, everybody that wants, you know, totally the hard cost waived or whatever comes up with a different idea. But I think this is a great thing, and particularly for this neighborhood, I'm 100% behind this. I just want to tell you, and I want to say, on a more personal level, thank you for taking the initiative to do this, and not just this piece of property, but for the community.
Yes.
That's huge. You're exactly the type of person we need in our community to make a difference. And you know, the tip of the spear is really what it's all about. And right now, you're that tip of the spear.
Thank you.
And whatever I can do, whatever we can do to help you in this endeavor and in the future stuff you do, that's just huge. It's huge. So, however we can get this done, I would like to get it done. This is huge for our community. Not only that, but you know, as the neighborhood builds around there, the values are going to go up. And if this works even half as well as you hope that it will, then you
Then
know
we're gonna give
we'll
you
end up
Highlands
getting our
Orange.
money back.
Yeah.
So whatever we can do as a council, as a councilman, as an individual, I'm fully behind you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mr. Swin, would the appropriate recommendation be to present this to the code enforcement board for a reduction of liens?
Well, I think let's wait and see how tomorrow goes. Hopefully it goes, as Mr. Shannon goes in his favor. Again, like we talked about last time, mentioned that there's a whole pile of liens on there to anybody else that might like to buy it, and that should scare them off.
Right.
And then, once you've got title, let's, I think, circle back then and move forward.
But rest assured that it seems as though the consensus up here is to help you the best that we can.
Well, I'd just like to say that maybe we can make this part of our workshop, because when we do this, we don't want to make it,
Right.
you have to do it for everyone else, so we have to discuss the
Right.
strategy.
Yes,
I agree.
So maybe make this
And
part of the
it
workshop.
certainly is helpful that this is a 501c3.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that part will help with that,
Yep.
Yep.
as opposed to a private individual.
So everyone is agreed to include this in our discussion in the
Okay.
workshop?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
One point of clarification, Mr. Swain, this council does not reduce the liens. It's the code enforcement board that does the forgiveness.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
of that process. They have it, they can simply wipe it out, but let's circle back with the process,
Right.
so that everybody's comfortable that we're doing well now, but not creating a problem for later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, next item would be number 10C, proposed ordinance 1465, amending subsection 26-171-4, requiring boundary survey as a condition to obtaining a fence or wall permit. Mr. Griffin, I get that right?
Greg Griffin, building official. At the last workshop, the WFC workshop that we had, the discussion was brought up regarding the requirement for surveys for the issuance of fence or wall permits. The city has had a long-standing policy that such surveys were not required. It was the owner's responsibility to know and or locate their boundaries, so we brought it to you for consideration.
Okay,
I'll read the title if you're ready.
yes?
The proposed ordinance is entitled an ordinance amending subsection 26-171-4 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sebring by requiring a boundary survey as a condition to obtaining a fence or wall permit, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Any further discussion here?
Yep. Okay, I understand that I may be in the minority here, I don't know, but make a long story short, a lot of people know where their boundaries are. There's marks out there. They put iron rods on the corners when they do your survey, when you buy your property. A lot of people know where those rods are, and maybe they don't want to build a fence right away, but 5 years later, they want to put a fence up. And so now they're going to have to cough up some $300 to $500 to go get a survey, but they know where the marks are already. In addition to that, right now, the surveyors are about 6 to 8 weeks out. So I think this is just another example of overreach. If they build a fence and it goes across their neighbor's property, they got a problem. And that neighbor comes over and calls on them, they get a survey, guess what? They got to remove their fence. It's as simple as that. It's a civil matter. But to require people that know where their boundaries are to go get a survey that they don't even need, wait 6 to 8 weeks at an expense of $300 to $500 on top of the permit for the fence and on top of the fence itself, I just think it's a little bit too much government overreach. We can pass an ordinance for everything out there. But the more ordinances you pass, the more you make it difficult for people to live in an area. You know, people just aren't going to want to. There are areas out there where they, you know, if you get your grass over 3 or 4 inches tall, they come in and cut it for you and put a lien on your property. That's not the city of Sebring. That's some other areas. But I just think getting a survey, you know, we can have them sign an affidavit and say, hey, you know, you are responsible for knowing where your boundaries are. And have them sign that when they come in and get their fence permit. But to have them go spend an extra $300 to $500 to have somebody come out there and say, hey, here's where your boundary is. Yeah, I know. There's the iron rod right there. It's been there ever since I moved in. I just don't think it's necessary.
Well, if it helps, most modern mortgages require a survey to be a component of the mortgage, so. a lot of
Only if
folks-
you're borrowing money though, right?
Correct.
Right, if it's
mortgage,
not through a bank, you don't have to have it.
It's a cash flow, you don't have
So,
to.
I completely disagree with you. First of all, the county requires it right away. And I can't tell you how many properties that we've built on where it's been missing pins. So there was it was subjective to where the lot line was, and it created problems. So I feel like it's very necessary to do this.
I think I just got a faceful from a local resident that problem happened to, and actually the guy cleared across, tore her fence down, went to put it back up and didn't put it.
Yeah.
But I think the comment about it's a civil matter, so the guy puts up a fence, now that guy that he put it on the neighbor's yard, now they gotta go get a survey to have that, to prove that that guy's on the wrong property. So I think, I disagree with you too. I think it's more prudent to hit it up front. And I think that's gonna solve a lot of those issues, so. And if you're gonna put up a fence, you better know where it is. So
Right.
instead of putting the reliance on your neighbor to say, hey, it's on my property now, I gotta sue you to get it off and I gotta pay this. So I think it's kind of a preemptive matter in my mind, so.
Well, my comment is, just in the background on the agenda item summary, we're talking about a fence or wall, then to me, that's a huge difference. You build a wall in the wrong place, who's gonna move that wall? I don't know that, it would be appropriate to split the baby, so there, the whole idea here between a wall and a fence, most fences go in with concrete and posts and things like that, so in this case, I would support Mr. Stewart and the mayor's thought on requiring the survey prior to the installation of either the wall or a fence.
Okay. Do we have any comment from the audience? Yes, ma'am. You have to.
That was one, actually, of the things that I wanted to talk about, but regarding the fence, Mr. Lee's been really helpful, but I live just on Poinciana and Orange, and my house is 100 years old, and I have a portion of my backyard fenced, and my neighbor put up a beautiful white fence and gave me her chain link fence. Well, less than a year ago, I had a very bad situation that came to my door that could have went really, really, really bad. And thank you God and my angels, it didn't. And then just 2 weeks ago, within 2 weeks, I had somebody literally pull up in my yard, by my house, and just sit and wait while I was in the backyard. Now, that wasn't cool for me. So I went out there and I okay, come on, angels, go with me, chase him down. Well, he took off and then he turned around, oh yeah, I guess I got the wrong address. And I'm like, okay. So I want to put up a fence. I don't have money right now to get a survey to get the poles, the metal poles, because it just isn't happening. So, Lee helped, and I'm like, okay, well, we're just going to scope it out and go for the gusto, because the Palms of Sebring owns the lot next to me. But then the fact of, you can have only a 4-foot fence in the front of your property. I'm like, okay, well, when did that become law and why? Because any tall person can jump that lickety split, and it's just me. So I'd like to put up a fence, but I'd like to put up a normal standard fence, chain link, so that I have a little bit more protection, not just for myself, but for clients or and animals, because I am an animal rescuer. So I'm just saying, I'm going to vote for Charlie because, number one, I don't have the extra funds right now. And number two, a lot of other people don't either, because it's just the way it is sometimes, especially right now. So that's all I have to say on that. But when did the 4-foot fence come into be in law and for the front of your home?
That's been that way for a long time.
2012.
And what started that? And is there any?
A 4-foot fence on top of a 4-foot wall.
Mm-hmm.
4-foot I don't have any walls. I just have ground and openers.
Right, so it was clarified to put a height cap of 4 feet, regardless of whether you wanted a wall or a fence. You could not add one on top of the other and come up with an 8-foot boundary.
So there's no negotiations on that. It is mandated, set in stone, and
Council the ordinance says 4 feet is the maximum in the front yard. You can certainly ask for council to reconsider that, and they can make a change.
okay.
Not on a case-by-case basis, but citywide.
So is that where I ask that right now?
If you like.
Will you consider? So I can have a normal fence and I don't have to cut it off or dig down to make it. It's right down there, corner of Poinciana and Orange, 100 years old. It's not an easy house to live in.
Christie, you realize though that what you're asking council to do is citywide change that from 4 feet to higher. I don't see that you're gonna get a lot of support for that. I'll be perfectly straight up with you.
Okay, well, I had to throw it out there. But that's okay, because that's the least of my worries. I got angels, but anyways.
All right. Well, thank you for your comments.
I also would like to comment that I certainly appreciate Mr. Lawrence's comments on it, and very much so. The problem is, and I think the mayor brought that to the forefront, that if there's a conflict, somebody's gonna have to pay for the survey. So it's either the applicant now or the plaintiff later, if you will. So at some point in time, there's going to have to be a survey if there's a conflict, and if there isn't, that's better. But to avoid that, I think we're better off to pass this ordinance on first reading this evening.
Did I hear a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have a
Yeah,
comment on
somebody
this?
here.
Oh.
That's okay, yes, I do have a comment. My name is Dana Riddell, Senior Planner with Central Florida Regional Planning Council. I just wanted to point out a few things. Highlands County, the unincorporated Highlands County, does require surveys for permanent structures and new homes. but not fences. In some jurisdictions, they don't require permits for fences at all, like in Polk County, because Florida building code regarding fences is so minimal, it's almost non-existent. They basically just go and check when they go and they check to inspect the fences, they're basically just checking to see that they're there. So with that being said, either way, you could vote either way, but the intent in Highlands County when they require those surveys is for permanent structures. Kind of how you mentioned for if it would be like a wall or like a cement block wall or something like that, but the surveys are actually required when they put a roof over concrete. That is the county's deciding factor. So if it's a movable structure like a shed on skids or a fence that can be easily moved, if there's if there's a conflict and someone says, hey, this fence is on my property, most times, there was only one case that I can recall that was very persistent that kept coming to us, but most times it can be resolved between neighbors. So I just wanted to put that out there since we mentioned the comparisons between non-incorporated county and the city of Sebring.
Okay, so just for clarification, because someone said that the county required it, the county does not require it.
For a wall, they would.
For a wall.
Right, and that's what this ordinance says.
It says wall or fence.
Right.
Could we come back and say just for the wall and not the fence part?
I'm not doing
You know,
that.
it's just for a fence. I mean, you might be 5 feet inside your perimeter.
Charlie, I've seen too many
But-
problems with this.
Well-
And really, when you say it depends, so many properties are missing them. They're non-existent. And I've encountered that numerous times. So I think it's wise to
There may
have
be, but
one.
what about those that aren't? Like, I know where my property is. I gotta go pay $500 to get a certified survey, even though I know where every one of those pins are. And there's a lot of people that are like me. You can take a metal detector out there yourself and find your pin
If they're
most
there,
of the time.
yeah, that's true, if they're there.
Yeah. So why spend $500 for people? If they get it wrong, it's on them. And we can have them sign an affidavit that says, hey, we would advise you to get a survey if you're putting up a fence, but it's not required. Have them sign that. They save themselves $500 if they know where their pins are.
Okay.
But,
I'm not convinced, thank you.
okay. I understand with the wall, and I can certainly support the wall part of it. The fence part, not so much. So.
Are you waiting
Alright.
for a motion?
Yeah, I'm looking for a motion.
I make a motion, we pass ordinance 1465 on first reading and schedule second and final reading for July 20th, 2021.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call roll.
Detman,
Yes.
Lawrence.
No.
Stewart,
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes. Okay, now, at this time, we're looking at new business, item D, and we're calling a public hearing, reference this. So we'll open up the public hearing. Reference ordinance number 1464, amending section 26-183 to address building design and appearance standards. And we have Dana? I didn't catch your last name.
Thank you. Yes, my last name is Riddell, and you won't remember it. You can keep asking. It's okay. It's like the football helmet, though.
Okay.
So thank you. Yes, my name is Dana Riddell, Senior Planner with Central Florida Regional Planning Council, here for the record. This matter has come before council before in terms of metal buildings. What we're doing is lessening the restrictions for metal buildings depending on where they're located in terms of the CRA. Excuse me. From the first hearing to this hearing, there were some clarifications if you look at page 10 of this item. It is a table, and areas highlighted in red show the changes that were recommended by Planning and Zoning and CRA. It's just a clarification on what we had already established, which is any buildings in the core of the CRA will have 100% coverage on all sides. If they're in the periphery of the CRA and zone C1, C2, and I2, then they'll be 100% covered on facades with right-of-way, and the sides will have 50% coverage. And in C1 outside of the CRA districts, we'll have 100% coverage on right-of-ways and 25% on the sides. So it's everything we talked about during the first hearing, we just backed it up, went back in there and made it clear. And aside from that, staff is here if you have any questions, and I will allow the city attorney to read the caption as well.
We'll save that excitement for the next one, the ordinance.
Yes.
Okay.
I just, I think at this time, public comment? Any, on the metal buildings? Any public comment?
It is a significant change from the current prohibition on metal buildings on the outside of buildings. So it's allowing for metal on the outside of buildings where you could not previously.
Okay, I see no public comment. Council, questions, comments? Seeing none, I will adjourn the public hearing. We'll move on to item 10E, ordinance number 1464, amending section 26-183 to address building design and appearance standards. And, City Attorney, Mr.
It is
Swain?
entitled, an ordinance amending chapter 26 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sebring regarding certain texts established in Article 5, Division 1, Section 26-183, prohibited metal buildings, and Article 6, definitions to address building materials and appearance requirements in the Sebring Community Redevelopment CRA District, in the C1, C2, and I1 zoning districts in the CRA District, and in the C1 zoning district outside of the CRA District, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing for conflict, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Okay.
This is on your
Yep.
agenda for second and final
And
reading,
final reading.
if you would like.
All right, do we have any comments from the council or motion? I'll look for a motion. First, second reading? We had a first reading, Pat.
Yeah.
A second reading?
I'm trying to find it on this computer.
I'll make that motion.
All right, thank you.
I don't want to see you struggle any worse.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we pass ordinance number 1464 on second and final reading as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. No further comments from anyone. We'll move on, Madam Clerk. Call it.
Detman,
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes. Okay. Now we have a business from the audience.
Christie,
5
Christie,
minutes.
you want to get up again?
5 minutes is the limit.
You only get 3 tries, you know.
No, I'm gonna probably break the law right now, so I'm sorry about the 5-minute rule.
I just
Um,
banged the gavel.
Well,
Go ahead.
just,
You're good.
so I don't know which one to start with, but I'll go with the one because I like to dive in. And Mr. Shoup, you're probably not gonna like me right now, but that's okay.
I like everybody.
So I'm gonna put my hand over my heart because I'm really passionate about this. Fireworks,
Thanks.
from a higher consciousness level, is it legal or is it illegal here to have fireworks? Because I keep getting different answers, and I just wanna know, is it legal or is it illegal?
It's legal for us, for the city, and there may be
believe he is
situations around, city license, whoever does that is licensed. There may be some situations where it's illegal for individuals to have certain fireworks.
Okay, well.
So it's a yes and no,
I got, it's like one of those vague things, because July 4th is, a really not nice day for me. And it's not a nice day for me because I help a lot of veterans. I help a lot of animals, and it causes freaking mayhem. And first of all, let me just say a Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian chant of I'm sorry, thank you, I love you, forgive me. Because I am not always a nice person. didn't think I was gonna cry. But when I'm passionate about the earth that I walk on, and people that recklessly take that for granted, I'm not okay with that. I have veterans, some have lost their lives now. I have elderly because I live next to the Palms that go in directions because they hear the fireworks and they can't escape. They have animals, and some of them might be hard of hearing and deaf, but their animals go hide and they won't come out for another day, day and a half because they're so frightened. So July 4th at 10:37 p.m., I called the police asking, could they assist? And their police officer, is he still here? I don't know. I was just wondering, because he said they were overwhelmed with phone calls on people calling and reporting too much fireworks. This year has been the worst, in my opinion, that I've ever heard it. My neighbors set off fireworks, and it's not just little fireworks. It could have been gone over the lake, in the Palms parking lot, next to the elderly facility where you have veterans, where you have animals in there, and I fled at 11 o'clock. I took my dog because my puppy started breathing hard, salivating, 3 hours of barking because of these big bang shenanigans going on. And how is that promoting peace and tranquility and happiness when I would like to know what the population of Sebring actually likes fireworks, because a lot of the people don't. It causes too much harm, and people love their animals, people love the elderly, and it causes mayhem. So at 11:07, I'm sitting, and they didn't know it, but I went there, the 7 airport, with my dog, and I sat out by the pool where it was quiet so that I could get some serenity back into my brain. PTSD is not a very good thing. And I'm an empath, which means I take on a lot of the energy that I'm around, which also makes me why sometimes I go off like a bullet in not nice ways, but I really do love humanity and the walk of earth that I live on. So veterans, they relive out the field and not good moments. They get triggered painful memories that they spend 365 days a year trying to forget, because they hear these fireworks going off and it's just like a war zone. And that's what it was on Poinciana and Orange, July 4th, that night. Animals, they're more sensitive than humans, a lot of them. It causes psychological effects, physically, PTSD, like people. They have anxiety and stress. Oh, just drug them up, drug them up. Everybody wants the pill to drug them up. It can create hearing loss, blindness, respiratory issues, abandonment for the environment. How does it help support our air pollution? Particles and toxins and chemicals from the fireworks in the air, which trickles down into the earth, land, and water. Help all living people. BJ and I worked together at the FATC Center 100 years ago, a long time ago. Help all living things. Environment, I don't have the statistics on how it harms the environment, but I'm sure it's out there, and if any of you know anybody that is in town that has studied and done research, I'd like to know that. So, in proposing, I'd like to propose a challenge. The people have a say of whether fireworks or not fireworks, or negotiation, compromise. If you're gonna have fireworks at the lake, okay, great. If you're gonna have families that wanna have fireworks, then hey, let's go out to the airport, or let's have a common place where you meet and show off. Hey, the more the merrier, away from people. Or you build a place that you have these elderly or people with pets or animals that can go to, that is soundproof or a safe place, not just for fireworks, but for hurricanes. During Irma, I'm up working on the veterans, or the National Guard, Army, and so forth up there. People were being turned away because they couldn't bring their dogs. They couldn't bring their animals, so they had no place to go. I brought every carrier that I had and gave them away to people to try to help support that. But I don't know, it's just, there's gotta be some kind of negotiation, because It's one day along with fireworks, and it's not just one day, it's July 3rd, July 4th, last night, 8 o'clock, they're going off again. So it's not just one day that they celebrate it, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, then you got the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th, and then the 20th and the 23rd, you know, just randomly. So you can't prepare, you can't drug up, you can't run away, because you don't know when somebody's gonna do it. So is it legal or illegal? Somebody said DeSantis just signed a law 3 days ago to make it legal. When I call the police, no, it's illegal. So can we just please have some sense of support and help?
You say something?
Well, Christie, knowing you and your family, and this is kind of difficult for me to say to you, but you know I've been perfectly frank with you in the past. It's almost ridiculous what we do have to put up with on these holidays, sometimes even New Year's Eve with that. I had a little ranchette, if you will, where I lived before I moved to Sebring. We had horses and dogs and cats, and I'm telling you what, it drives them crazy. I absolutely agree with you. The problem is enforceability. If the governor passes the new law, the city can't, I don't believe, Mr. Swain can.
I'm not familiar with it, but I
Yeah.
can certainly research it and get
Right.
back to you.
We can't make it more stringent, but the problem is enforceability. It's like anything else. We can pass laws all day long, but are they enforceable? How do we enforce them? These fireworks are going on all over the city, all over the county, all over the country. It's almost impossible. It's sort of like speeding. We can't be everywhere.
So that's what he said, the police officer, and then the one
Yeah.
that called me, he's like, we're bombarded with calls, we don't even have the manpower.
He's
I'm
probably
like,
right,
okay,
and I'm
so-
sure the chief is standing right over your right shoulder, and I think he'll probably be talking about pretty much the same thing I'm trying to explain.
In 2020, Governor DeSantis passed a law offering 3 fireworks holidays, so to speak. So New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and 4th of July or Independence Day are all wide open as far as fireworks sales.
Yeah.
And fireworks use. People who purchase fireworks, the fireworks tents used to sign a waiver illegally saying they were using them for agricultural purposes to scare off birds.
Yeah.
I think they know
It was a
when they were
bunch of
selling them,
baloney.
that's obviously not the case. That requirement is now off the books, so they are legal. There's the prohibition of exploding fireworks and bottle rockets and Roman candles and all those things is not on the table for those 3 days. Holiday or the weekend leading up to it, obviously Friday night, Sunday night, maybe not so much, but from an enforceability perspective, certainly we have 5 people in the city to try and cover 11,000 residents, and I think this year we had 22,000 people doing fireworks during the tour.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was just me, but it was freaking, sorry, off the
It's not.
chain. And I don't, you know, I mean, okay, if you don't have the manpower, you know, let's have the citizens make some say, you know, take pictures, and if they're doing it on a day other than the 3rd or the 4th, take pictures, and then make fines, you know,
Yeah.
and then use those fines to build on these properties that are building down, you know, making skating rinks for the youth, and making stuff for the veterans, and being proactive.
Well, you're not too awfully long ago, Christie, the city council passed an ordinance where you have to clean up your dog's business on the public right of way, which would be between the curb and the street and the sidewalk. You know how many times this police department has had either the vision or the opportunity to enforce that? It's one of those crazy laws where we hope people will follow the direction of the law.
So really, you know,
The spirit of the law, if you will. But,
so because one person says, Simon says do this, then we all have to follow. Like, I find that really hard to swallow, because it's not a small thing.
Yeah.
You know, and what catastrophe, whose death, or what death is it gonna have, or how
Yeah.
many deaths is it gonna have to make before it's consciously aware, like, in my neighbor, you know? And I'm like, I just think it really rude that you would set it off in a parking lot that's not yours, in a parking lot next to, you know, however many stories it is, with elderly and veterans. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, I love
actually,
it, but I don't.
I was speaking to a a patient in the Palms who, a former Sebring police officer who's in there right now. And he was describing to me the boom, boom, boom that was going on. I said, you realize it was 4th of July? And he said, yes, thank God I did realize that. But it's just one of those things that pre-planning, we used to have to pre-plan for our animals over in Lake Worth.
So again, drugs
It
and
was
you know.
very, very difficult.
But it's not, the problem is it's not just
Yeah.
July 4th.
No, I
It's
know
July
that.
3rd.
No, it's all over.
It was last night.
Yeah.
And you can't buy, they don't make earmuffs, at least that I know of, for dogs.
Yeah. No,
So this is just beating my head against the wall and continuing to.
I don't know
pour
what
out
the
my heart.
solution
I
would
don't
be,
think
but I
it-
think pre-planning is a great thing to do. If you know on 4th of July that that's what's going to happen, just like you did, I think, I applaud you.
So then how could, I gotta put out a challenge because, we gotta help these people because I can't just live next door to people that are being affected
I know,
and not like say, hey, I'm here on the planet just to take up space and not care.
right, but if they're legal, they're legal.
Mhm.
You can't ask the police department to enforce.
Okay, so-
And then they become illegal, you see what I'm saying?
So what could we do to step outside the box and maybe promote an alternative or a safe zone for people to go to that?
Yeah. Actually, I guess that's what the governor did. He stepped outside the box and said, well, this is silly.
Have at it, yeah.
Signing these stupid disclaimers that you're buying fireworks to scare away birds for agricultural reasons. He's saying, it's gonna happen anyhow, so let's regulate it the best we can, certain days of the year, and we have to live with that.
I would rather, sorry, just be quiet on that one.
I'm just saying, that's the truth of the matter. That's just the way it is. I wish I had a solution for you, and if someone else up here did, I'm sure they would.
I might
glad
make
to
a
offer it.
suggestion, and I don't know how feasible it is. It certainly isn't for some of the people at the Palms. But for you and your animals, you might consider taking them out to the country on July 4th.
Sure.
Where there's very few people fighting and shooting off fireworks out there. It's a little more peaceful out there, and I'm not talking too far out, but even, down around Loretta or Kissimmee River or something, go on down there and
Sit in the car
and camp out for a night.
and,
Just a thought.
Highlands Hammock State Park would be my first choice.
okay, but how does that help me help people that can't get away or people that can't go out and camp out, these
It's not a
elderly?
solution
Not-
for
there
everything,
isn't a
Christie,
solution
but
to that.
it might
But
at
we're
least
enough
help
brainy
your animals.
people.
Pardon?
I said, we're enough brainy people, like, does that not matter?
It does
You know,
matter.
Because every person, elderly person, they don't care. They don't care. Don't even go, Christy, because it's not gonna get you anywhere. And maybe they're wise but I don't,
Well, I don't think we're gonna solve that right now. We're giving you
I'm
every.
not asking you to, I'm just,
Well,
I'm just pleading.
hear
because
what you're
it's not
saying.
just me,
We appreciate
you know?
it too.
Yeah, we hear what you're
And
saying.
I'm sorry, Mr. Shute, because you think the fireworks are great, but, I'm ready to like do something really, 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 really not nice.
Okay.
Um,
You have something else here also.
Yeah, I think we should move on.
Yeah. You
So
beat
the
that
other
one to
thing
death.
is lychee trees. So how do I go about making a legit
Thank you, Chief.
thing so that every year I have lychee nuts that fall on the road about 45 feet long, and the bees come and gravitate, and the cars come and they kill the bees because the bees are on the lychee nuts. So every year I've been blocking it off. Well, I've had some bee cone nappers this year that took my cones and my signs, and a police report was made, and I went to every city official, 6.5 hours worth, trying to locate said signs that EPI loaned me, and could not. Anyways, long story short, what do I have to do to get cones legitimately that can be put up every year for about 2.5, 3 weeks to help save the bees? And not just my bees, but I'm sure other lychee nut people have trees, because lychee nuts are like gold and people go around stealing them. So that was another thought prospect I had of a community garden where you plant trees that provide food for the community, and people then are less to go steal from them and more proactive in taking care of the food that they get.
I have no answer for that.
Wanting to block the road?
Yeah, so we can't block the road, that's it, so.
Clean up the leaches.
I do, but okay, so I take care of my parents and my family members. I have 4 family members that I'm taking care of. So, you know, I go home and I clean it up and I have neighbors come clean it up.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they still, and what part of that is not caring when Orange Avenue is right there, and from me, not even to the wall, I put 4 cones out to, number 1, let people know that the bees are there so they don't get stung, and number 2, to save the bees, and then I pick them up and I put them off in a safe place and helping be humanity. Be humanity.
Okay, well, that's another difficult issue. Some of these issues, I suggest maybe getting with administration, because you're talking about races and probably blocking the street, it sounds like. The fencing you were already in on, and speed bumps.
The race was an issue because, not the triathlon, but the one before, it's like, and I've been doing races because my son was an avid runner for 20 years. And it was overkill, so I was just gonna see if I could get a hall pass or something, because I live on Orange. My parents live 3 streets away, and I literally could not, usually I can cut through the alleys because I know them, but I have pictures to prove like they went overkill. And
Well, these things that we're gonna pass on to administration anyway to listen to.
so that's why you just tell me where to go, who to talk to, and what I need to do, because
Well, our city administrator would be a start, and then he will probably refer you to the appropriate department head to do that,
Can I
to
use your pen?
discuss it.
Thank you. And I'm sorry for taking up time, but hey, I'm trying to help humanity in all levels here.
I like the idea of urban gardening, by the way. There are a lot of examples of that in Rust Belt cities up north where they are taking vacant land where homes have been demolished. And I was going to mention that with Mr. Shannon. And they're
Absolutely.
very, very successful. Excellent idea.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So these items you'll get with the administration, because we were gonna pass it on to them anyway.
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm just, you're my first stop. I'm
I
not
hear you.
very, I'm the get out and go doer.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Sorry.
No
Smile,
problem.
Christie.
All right, city attorney business.
None, sir.
Okay. City administrator business. Sitting in?
Sitting in for city administrator.
That's right.
We
Don't wanna
amended
be
the
the
agenda
administrator
to
tonight.
add the proposed interlocal agreement between Highlands County and the city for the removal of emergency disaster debris. Revision was made to it to add equalization language, that in the event the county approves a more favorable agreement with another municipality in Highlands County, that the city would also receive that same benefit.
Any discussion with council?
Well,
I think that seems reasonable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure does. I like it.
I appreciate you adding the equalization paragraph in there. I do stand with Lake Placid a little bit in principle, though, that I think the county should just pay for it and get reimbursement and not come back at the cities for any part of it that they don't get reimbursed, because they do that for everybody in the county. So I stand somewhat with Lake Placid, and I hope that Lake Placid gets their way so that we can too.
Okay, now we have a motion to accept that amendment? Oh, anyone from the audience, you may not know what we're talking about. Equalization paragraph, you like that, right? No, basically, we added the paragraph during storms, the county contracts with somebody to do the cleanup. And what the paragraph we added, because we all piggyback with the county, all the 3 cities, or 2 cities in the county, we piggyback on their contract. What we added that we didn't have in this before was that if they make a different deal with another city that is better than what we have, we want equal attention to it. We want to be included. So basically, that's what. Did I miss anything on that one?
That sounded good. I'm ready to
Close
make a
enough.
motion.
All right, give him a
I'll make a motion, we approve the interlocal agreement as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second, Madam Clerk.
Yep.
Detman.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes. All right, item 14, city clerk's business and announcements, bills.
I have no announcement, but council needs to approve the paying of the bills, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for paying the bills. Call-